Reporter Carol Jenga to tell us more details about Day 2 of Connected Summit 2023. Carol?
Well, thank you for joining us right here in Diani, Kwale County, where it's Day 2 of the Connected Kenya Summit, and tech experts, government policymakers, innovators have come to discuss emerging issues in the tech space as well as the digital space, and how they can leverage on technology to roll out or to ensure that the digital economy grows in the next couple of years. The topic, or rather the theme of this conference, has been digital economy, endless opportunities shaping the future. And the conversation here has been centered on that theme, on how we can ensure we grow a digitally enabled workforce, as well as create online jobs for our youth. And in the morning session, we had a topic on the future of work in the digital economy, and tech experts sat down to discuss how they can leverage on the technology as well as other areas of emerging technological trends to ensure that they create jobs as well as other areas of growth. And joining me is Dr. Mark Mutunga to expound this more. He is one of the tech experts right here at the conference, and also a cybersecurity expert. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Thank you, Carol. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. Now we can start from how critical is digitization in the future of work?
The future is digital. There's just no question about it. Regardless of what you're doing in your stage in life, whether you're a fisherman in Lake Victoria on Mfangano Island, or you're a nomad in Northeastern, or you're a cattle herder in Masai Mara, whether you're a tea farmer in Kericho, the future is digital. One of the main things that I think every single country is struggling with around the world is employment for the youth. And the conversation that actually we're having here in the coast at this Connected Summit is around how best can we actually harness our efforts, private sector, government, civil society, to actually come around the possibility of creating sufficient platforms for the youth to actually acquire gainful engagements. And that is what we call jobs. And those jobs are actually digital jobs. Regardless of what you might have had skills in, what you might have been trained in, it is possible that using just your smartphone or using a laptop, going online, you can actually be engaged gainfully, do a job, carry out a task for which you can actually be paid even in foreign currency. That is happening now. It's one of the conversations that we are having here, and all the stakeholders actually have come together to explore tangible possibilities that actually can be put in place to make this happen. And I must appreciate what government has done so far. You have seen the Ministry of ICT together with other state agencies like Communications Authority, Konza Technopolis, TVET Authority, Communications Authority, ICTA, all have come together to actually drive this agenda of Jitume program in terms of setting up labs, computer labs in TVET institutions. And then after setting them up, then they invite the young people to actually be trained on online jobs. That's already happening. The question is, how best can you actually attempt to expand that? And one of the things that will actually have to happen is the government need to actually go on an overdrive to create and generate and put in place infrastructure to actually support those jobs. So we're not just basically waiting for young people to actually come to Nairobi to do those jobs. If we expand fiber to every single village, and we set up ICT hubs in nearly every single village or in every single county or of every single ward, young people can actually go into those centers and be able to actually sit down, carry out tasks for which they're going to be paid and earn a living.
One of the key points I got from one of the speakers yesterday, especially the CS as well as the Public-Private Cabinet Secretary, is all about partnership with the government and the sector. How critical is it for these two partnerships to ensure that there's a relationship that will grow the digital space?
There's no shortcut to that effort. There has to be a concerted, deliberate effort for private sector to work with government, because who are the creators of jobs? It's the private sector. The services is being offered by government, and so we have to actually come together as partners, because the private sector are really the engine of technology and the engine of the economy, and so government's role is actually in terms of policy to creating an enabling environment, but also putting infrastructure in place. That to me is very important, and so there has to be a convergence of the two. Fortunately, there are deliberate efforts to that end. I mean, myself being in the private sector, I work very closely with government to actually ensure that we establish some of these partnerships that actually really work. I'll give you a specific example on the G2ME program, which I told you. ICT Authority is a government institution, Communications Authority is a government agency, TVETA is a government agency, Ministry of ICT is a government ministry, and all of them have just come together to set up this program of taking computers into labs in the TVET institution. Then they bring us in as private sector to actually offer training, but not just offer training. We are the ones who actually connect with the rest of the companies around the world to source for jobs and bring them to place. And so it has to be a concerted effort, a combined opportunity whereby all the key stakeholders and players come together to make this a reality for the youth in Kenya.
Okay. Early on, you did mention about digital infrastructure, and the government is rolling out an additional 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable. We have seen 25,000 Wi-Fi hotspots. These are key areas you've mentioned that the government needs to focus on to ensure we grow the digital space and also online jobs. Maybe in your opinion, how further can we go in terms of ensuring that this is something that we can leverage on?
All those efforts need to go beyond promise to actual physical infrastructure on the ground. So connectivity actually needs to happen. I was talking a little bit earlier to the PS, and I was telling him I need the fiber cable from the mainland to the island of Mfangano where I live, so that the youth in Mfangano can actually also be able to access the internet. So that definitely needs to happen. So it needs to move from promise to action, and because without which it won't be useful. But I think I have a duty to also inform the public that yes, with the emergence and access to actually digital infrastructure comes certain responsibilities, part of which is the responsibility of government, but also for the public. The government has to actually work with all the stakeholders like us to provide security and safety for all the users to actually use it, and that's what we call cyber security. Then we all have a responsibility to actually educate the public on how they can safely use the internet and the access they'll have at their hands to achieve their personal and communal objective.
Okay, I know there's a lot we can talk about, but because of time, I have to let you go, Dr. Mark. And that has been the tech expert speaking to us right here in Diani on the Connected Kenya Summit and some of the various areas they are looking at. In the afternoon session, we'll be having women and technology. I know this is an area most women are interested in, and we'll be bringing you a story right from here in the evening during the 9 p.m. story. Back to you in studio, Jackie.